Hey guys, today I wanted to create a Christmas card doing a snow globe. So I started out with a size 6 long brush, very pointy, helps to get that detail down, and I made a trapezoid. Now, I did not draw it ahead of time, which you could totally do. I just kind of eyeballed it, as some would say, and I think it turned out pretty decent. It may not be totally centered, but that's the wonder and whimsy of a Christmas card that is hand painted, or anything that's hand done. It's not going to be perfect. And if it's perfect, then I don't know, it doesn't look quite as cool to me. So I had to paint that initially. The trapezoid I had to paint 3 times because it kept wanting to show the undercolor, like a bleed through almost, which is fine. I let the layers dry and I move on. So after I got the trapezoid finished and dried, I created a little cottage or gingerbread house, maybe. Mine's more of a cottage. And let's see, what color did I use? I used the burnt scarlet, which is a Quinn color, to create it. And I also added a little of the Van Dyke brown to the roof, to the windows and the doors, to kind of highlight those, to make them stand out a little bit more. And with that, you can see I switched brushes. I went to a size 2 round brush, and it's more of a smaller detail brush, easier to get those fine lines and details done with that guy. So I added a little bit of darker color to it to give it highlights, so it's not just a blah. I let it dry. Actually, I used a dryer. I have a really cool dryer that my nephew got me for Christmas last year, or my birthday one, and it's made specifically for artwork. And I love that. You could also use a blow dryer to dry it. You just can't put it on a high heat setting. Or you could just let it dry naturally, which works too. I am too impatient, especially if I'm making a video. I just love to paint, and I want to keep painting. So drying it ahead of time is necessary for me. And here I was just trying to decide how many windows. It's a small, tiny little cottage. This is going to go in a snow globe. So little things, little details. And then I grabbed a green color. I believed I used the, olive and perylene green mixed together to create a couple of evergreen trees. And I just went down the branches, making V shapes and putting like little pine needles on those V shapes going down. And then as you get down farther, you're pulling out to the front and across the sides, more of an upside down V shape then, to fill it in. And you want to make sure and go down the center of it too with branches, so it looks more 3-dimensional than just, flat. So I made one bigger tree right beside the house, and I made a smaller one right beside that one. I always think I have tiny hands until I see them on video, and I think, man, I've got huge hands. And I don't really, but next to that little card, it looks big. And again, I'm using that tiny number 2 round brush to get those details in there. I'm using the olive green and perylene green mixed together to get that color. I always keep a fresh cup of water to rinse my brushes. And if my brush gets too wet with paint, I use that paper towel to kind of sponge off some of the extra color or extra water, really. And then I went in with a really light blue. I think it was like a cerulean blue, that I used, and I just eyeballed a circle all the way around. And this blue is super, super diluted with water. That way it looks more like, I don't know, more clear, like a snow globe, and with a little bit of a blue tint for a skyline as well. So I just did that and circled all around everything, or swirled around everything to fill in with that bluish tinted water. And you guys probably hear my dogs barking. They get excited. They went outside for a minute, like a hot minute, and they're already barking at something. They don't chase down big things like coyotes or deer. They go for the squirrels and possums that come out. Like, of all things and skunks. They like to chase skunks. I know they have not figured out that it's not a great idea. So my snow globe, you can see, is almost translucent. It's got that little bit of blue hue to it to give it that daylight look. And then I dug out my acrylics because I do not have any watercolor, or not watercolor, but gouache to do white with. So can you do acrylics on top of watercolor? You can. Make sure your watercolor is dry. And then I took a brush just for acrylics. I didn't use my watercolor brush for this, and it's a small detail one. And I put snow on the door, snow on the roof, and on the windows, and on the trees, so it looked a little more like a true snow globe. And then I just took my brush and dotted it all over that picture, so it looked truly like it was snowing inside of it. And you can probably hear the wind. My nephew came out and mowed and cleaned up the yard, and we live in the woods, of course. And he collected all the leaves, and the yard looked really good for about 24 hours. And then we had a winter storm come through, and we've had nothing but wind, like really cold wind. And our yard, you can't tell anything was done with our yard. There's so many leaves everywhere, just millions and millions of leaves. And our dogs are Australian Shepherds, so they're always bringing in the leaves when they go out because it sticks to their fur. There, I'm just kind of splatting in the snow with the white acrylic paint. There. Then I took a gold pen to do some highlights, like gold bulbs on the trees, lights in the windows and on the door. That gold really gives it that pop that we want of color. And then I just took that gold pen, same one, and I made a big rectangle. I also eyeballed that. I probably shouldn't have, but again, it's not perfect. It's a little more whimsical that way. And I just wrote North Pole on my snow globe. You could write Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. You could write a child's name or whoever you're sending it to, or you could write your name, like from the Fagerlund family. And I just traced along the outside to give a little bit of a highlight trim. Now in this next part, I took off the tape, and I had something wretched happen, which happens not very often to me, but it does happen. And my tape tore my watercolor paper. I was like, oh no. But I found out early on in this adventure of watercolor that is not the end of the world. One, you could trim that back, or you can grab some Elmer's craft bond glue and glue under it and push it down really carefully, and it goes right back into the place it was in. So I love the Elmer's craft glue. It has saved a lot of heartache. You could also trim that piece off, but then your picture is shorter. And then I took a piece of 7x10 cardstock, and I used red for this since my snow globe base was red. I thought I'd add to that. And I have this tape. It's like a two-sided, really sticky, adherent tape, I guess. It's a glue, and I put it on all four sides since it's a heavier watercolor paper. and I taped it down, and then I center it onto my card. And it kind of makes that red in the picture pop. And I know the top of this picture is really bland, but I'm planning on putting Merry Christmas at the top. Now the inside, not everybody wants to write on the inside on a colored card. Not everybody carries around gel pens to make that easy to do. So what I do is I take another piece of cardstock and I glue on the inside so that you can write a personal message in there easily, just to make it easier to write, not on that red or whatever color you choose to use. And yeah, I got some acrylic paint on the front of my card. If I wasn't a mess, I don't know what I would do. But they say artists are mess, right? They're messy. That isn't wrong, I tell you. Now, the only thing I would have done differently, I tried to hand print this, and my cursive is 100 times better than my handprint, so I should have done that. But it still turned out, I think, pretty cute. Merry Christmas, and there you go. Thanks for watching today.